I can't think of anything that's been done during the Bush administration that's been helpful to cities. There's a lot that the federal government does in terms of policy, in terms of financing, that impacts us and our cities every single day. And I hope that we see things go in an entirely different direction than during these disastrous Bush years, because Republicans and Democrats alike among mayors in this country have been very, very upset and concerned about the disregard for cities by this administration. I think it's been very symbolic, and a lot of mayors that I know have noted this, that when we go back to Washington, D.C. annually for the U.S. Conference of Mayors meetings, we used to go over to the Clinton White House, and President Clinton would speak to all of us. He'd meet all of us individually, then he would speak to us as a group, and he would know this material. I don't think he had any notes. He knew and cared very deeply about the issues facing cities nationwide. And it showed in terms of his policies. Not once during the Bush administration has there been an invitation to go over to the White House, and although President Bush has dropped in on a few meetings of the Conference of Mayors, there's not been any of that sort of relationship. This is a president who I think has not only entirely neglected cities, but has hurt our cities in such enormous ways, both in terms of policy making and with the kinds of fiscal decisions that have been made. Immigration issues, which we in our cities are facing all the time, and the people in our cities, employers, immigrants, all of us are due a good, compassionate, reasoned response from our federal government. We need solutions, and we don't need more of this, I think, very cowardly demagoguery that's driven by the worst kind of politics about immigration. As a mayor, particularly, I've been very pleased to endorse Bill Richardson in his candidacy for President of the United States, because he understands the impacts we feel in cities, where 80% of Americans live, by what our federal government does. He knows what needs to be done on a federal level to make lives much better, to improve the quality of life, to make our cities safer, to make them healthier, both now and in the long term. Every presidential candidate should be explaining what they will do to help out our cities. And on the federal level, so much of what happens, our air quality, our schools, our transportation projects, all of that depends on what our federal government does, how we deal with our immigrant population. We need these solutions, and these candidates need to be looking straight, telling it straight to the American people in terms of what they will do as president in helping lead this country toward a much better, more progressive, more productive relationship with our cities.